I always love working with Lo-Fi Girl, but there's something particularly special about being part of one of their compilations. The music selection is always amazing, there's great artwork that always goes with it and animations, and of course it's always printed on vinyl, which is amazing to have a sort of tangible copy of your music that I can keep forever. So whenever I hear about a new compilation, I always drop everything I'm doing so I can try and write some music for it. So last Monday they released the latest compilation, which was called Morning Coffee, and if you've not listened to it yet, I would highly recommend you do, because it's got such a beautiful selection of tracks in there. The artwork is amazing, and it's just a great start to finish project to listen to. Fortunately, 2 of the tracks on there were produced by myself. One was co-produced with an artist called Mao, and that was called Memoria. And the track that I'm going to be breaking down in today's video was a track called Clouded Dusk, which I produced, and it's a sort of slow, organic and warm track that I was really happy with how it turned out. So I'm going to be breaking down the project file in this video and everything that went into it, as well as the sort of mastering and mixing side of things as well. And in honor of the compilation, I'm going to be giving away a free VST. So all you've got to do to enter is like and comment on the video. And the VST is going to be up to you to choose. You can pick anything that you've seen in this video, so it could be any of the virtual contact instruments or stuff like Soothe or any of the mastering plugins. It's yours to choose. You can pick one from the video and it'll be yours. So I'll randomly select a winner as soon as this video hits 300 likes. So yeah, be sure to like and comment to enter the competition, and I'm going to start from the top and break down the Ableton project file now. So this is the project file, the final one that I exported with all of the mixing and mastering effects. So I'm just going to break down each individual track and what I use to get those sounds. Obviously, everything in here is going to be up for grabs for the competition, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, I'm just going to start off from the top. As always, we've got some atmosphere. So this is really just there to fill in the sort of gaps and give it that old lo-fi warmth. So it's a bit of a vinyl texture with some market atmosphere samples in there as well. Obviously, be sure to make that as clean as possible. You don't want it muddying up your mix for no reason. So be sure to EQ out any muddiness on that. But that is the atmosphere. And then onto the first instrument bus. So on the group of this bus, this has got the pianos, the main sort of piano melodies, and a couple of extra little textures. This has got the filtering for transitions. So we're using an auto filter for these different sections to swoop out the low end, so it's more impactful when the kick drops in and the bass drops in and that sort of thing. We've got Soothe on there, cutting out some of the muddiness in the low end, and we've got a Paul on there which is used again for transitions. So this was the first transition section. We'll just slide in the dry to wet knob, and this is literally the default patch that happens when you open up Paul. I've used a few different presets for different transitions in the past, but that one, just the default, gives it this like choppy sound, which is pretty nice. So that's all we've got going on the bus. And then in there we've got the first bit here, which is the Noir felt by Native Instruments for the piano. Nice warm piano VST. So chord wise, we're in the key of C minor, so all the guitar solo was based around C minor pentatonic scale. Or maybe the C harmonic minor as well a little bit. So here we've got a sort of D sharp major 7 inversion, followed by an F minor 7, which would be like the 3 and the 4 chord if it was in C minor. Maybe there's a better way of classing that, but that's sort of all I was really thinking. So it starts off as like an arpeggiated version, and then when this bit kicks in, just playing the chords straight. Just to give it a little bit more variation. It's the same chords, it's a 2-chord sequence effectively with some little sounds in there just to make it a little bit more interesting, so adding a few different notes from the scale. But effectively it's just 2 chords, which makes it really nice to solo over, really nice to add textures to without having to think too much into what notes I'm playing when. So that just switches between those 2 different patterns. The blue one was the arpeggiated, followed by the chords, arpeggiated, and so on. Next we've got these synthy textures. So these play an introduction here. These are, if I unfreeze, from Ice Piano by Oliver Patrice, the Spitfire Audio plugin, the OPW one. It's like $29. It's a really great plugin. I've got the other Oliver Patrice one, which I've talked about as well. I think it's probably used in this track, but they're really nice Spitfire Audio plugins for such a bargain. So I've got one panned left and one panned right. They've got slightly different filtering on there, so I've cut out a lot of the low end, a bit of the highs, convolution reverb. And that's pretty much it. And then I've got another auto filter on here as well, which cuts out the lows as it gets towards the end of the track. So it cuts out the highs. It makes it a little bit more muted. The nice thing about that is I'm effectively just playing the same chords as up here, but with a plugin that's got all these different sounds and textures in there as well. Next, we've got another line from the Noir Felt, which plays in the introduction and then again in the outro. So this is the sleep preset on the Noir Felt. We've got a little bit of an auto filter on there with some automation, convolution reverb next, followed by a portal, followed by another portal. This other portal has got a automation on there, so that's cool reverse thing, which is a preset I've got. So that comes in at the introduction, which is the reverse texture you can hear, but that can be quite heavy, which is why I filter it out. And then I've got another portal preset, which I think is a default one, just making it that choppy sound. So again, that plays in the outro, and then we've got this synth top next, which I think I've talked about before. It's just a preset from the Alpha Arnold Stratus Synth Swarms. Just a nice like top end synth that blends in again nicely. I've cut out the low end, some convolution reverb and portal on this. I think I've got a portal on a lot on this track. Again, the default, just giving it a choppy feel. So that plays through the core of the track. And then we've also got this thing at the end. This was a free contact instrument from Piano Book. If you've not checked out Piano Book, I think I've talked about it in previous videos. It's just a website full of free sample libraries made, I think, by the people who make Spitfire audio. But yeah, this is ambient guitar trimmers. There's no tweaking on that. It's just what it is. And it just adds a little bit of texture to the track. Just mix-wise, I've got a few filters on there to cut the highs, lows, convolution, portal, and some auto pan, moving it from left to right in the stereo field. So that about covers this group. And real quick before I carry on, I just wanted to take a minute to talk about this week's sponsor, which is Skillshare. I've worked with Skillshare a couple of times in the past, and the reason I keep working with them again is because I think it's such a great platform to be part of. Skillshare is an online community where you can grow your skills in various different areas, or you can discover new and interesting topics to learn about. Whether you're looking to improve your video editing skills, as I did with Skillshare, or you're looking to improve your music production knowledge or music theory knowledge, it's a great place to start and explore all of the lessons it has to offer. I myself am always looking to develop new skills, so at the moment I'm looking at improving some of my neo-soul style guitar licks. So if I go on Skillshare, I can search for neo-soul guitar lessons. I can pick whichever lesson looks the most interesting to me. And then on there, I can look at the reviews, listen to some demos, and check out what other people have said about it in the discussions. So it's great for making sure that the lesson is right for you before you start to invest time in it. It's completely ad-free, and it's just a fantastic platform to be part of. So if you want to find out more about Skillshare, you hit the link in the description down below, or use the code MondoLoops. The first 1,000 people will get a month free. So it's well worth using the free month just to check out what's on there and see if there's anything worth your while listening to, which I'm sure there definitely will be. So yeah, that's Skillshare. Thanks again for sponsoring this video. Highly recommend you checking it out in the link down below. But anyway, on to the rest of the video. I've also got another group of melody, which is this one. So this has all of the guitar layers. So I recorded these using my Amplitude 4 rack, which I've talked about in previous videos. I can break it down again if you want. Let me know in the comments down below. So that's just my normal guitar, clean rack. I did a recording left and right on this one, just to give it a nice stereo feel. So you record it twice, the same thing, and it gives it a nice width. If you duplicate it, you get some phasing issues, so it's best to record it twice. And I've also got this guitar layer as well, which comes in sort of in the middle. And that was just recorded once, all in C minor pentatonic. Next up, we've got this group, which has got some more Oliver Patrice vocal textures. So these are from the Pool project, which is different to the one I talked about a second ago. Got some lovely vocal stuff in there. So that's all that is. Again, with a bit of filtering just for mixing purposes and some reverb. I've also used the Alex Lens, which has got some nice vocal samples. Another Spitfire Audio $29 plugin, which is from the interactive album preset, which has got just nice sounds from her album. again with some filtering and convolution, all for mixing reasons. We've got a nice sort of arpeggiated piano that comes in, I think. Yeah, that's used. So that's arpeggiated from the Imaginary piano. Again, dropping the low end, dropping the highs a little bit, and soothe on there just to tidy up the sort of resonant low end frequencies. So that's just the, I guess the V1. I think there's a V2 version of it out now. It's got some nice sounds from recording the piano, the sort of hammers and key noise, which is nice to have. And then finally, I've got this little bit here, which is again more piano lines. I've got soothe on the master there, just tidying it up again in the low end. And then on each channel, I've got some filtering and some convolution reverb. So this one, I've got the Imaginary panned right, and I've got Walno panned left, just to give the same thing played. It just gives it a nice big stereo field, and I felt they both sort of had a similar vibe. So it gives it a nice full, thick sound. So that's the melody bus, which again has got a bit of soothe on there to clean that up. But I just didn't want those to go through the same effects as this one. I didn't want them to have the pull. So that's a different bus. And then so far, we've got all this. This bass, again, was all recorded with Archetype Cory Wong DI. So I've got the P-Bass preset on there, recorded at DI. Got cutting off the highs, boosting the lows there, and some soothe to manage the resonance. So that's what this sounds like. Just a nice simple bass line. And finally, the drum bus I'll finish on. So we've got a kick pattern here, which is grouped differently to the highs and the mids, just because that's got some effects on, which we'll talk about in a second. So kick, just a simple kick, ML Dusty kick layered with like a high-end kick. So that's from my last sample pack. And then you've got the highs and the mids, which has got some wow and flutter on from this tape preset from Elephant, which I've talked about loads. Great preset for Ableton. Ozone Imager to give it a little bit of space in the high end. And then a convolution reverb, which is very subtly on there, just to give it a little bit of reverb space to all of these drum sounds. So just to rush through this, we've got some one-shot sounds in the hi-hats, a little bit of saturation, and cut the stop ending, so I want it quite sort of muffled. I don't like it this bright. Layered that with a brush sample. Sort of snappy sample comes in. I think a lot of these I got from Splice or from my own sample packs. We've also got another brush texture. I've really textured this one up, which I think it comes across in the track. It just gives it a nice depth and sort of uses as many organic sounds as I can. So I think that's pretty much a Splice one of some sort. And then I recorded a few bits as well. So that was just recorded on my drums behind me. I think this one, yes, this was just like a brush again on my snare. And then some snare sounds. Lots of different organic sounds textured together from my sample packs and from Splice. I've used Tom C. Bumps as full in this one, I think. Yeah, I think that was Tom C. Bumps. And then again, some more Foley that I recorded. And that is pretty much it. And altogether, we've got a nice organic textured drum kit. So onto the master, I've got the EQ8, which is cutting out the stereo information in the low end, as well as just a straight up cut below like 50 hertz or so, which is just a bog standard thing. I can bring that higher if I want, but that's just a standard preset that I throw on just to eliminate any unwanted stereo field in the low end. Got a soothe on there, which is focused on the sub frequencies, as well as a little bit here where the sort of snares and claps would be. Gold faucet on there, which is on the recover mode, so you can see it's bringing up some of the lows, some of the highs, and just taming this little section here, sort of 200 to 1000 hertz, with a little 1 dB boost. The Ozone 9 exciter, which again is just a little bit of saturation on the top end. I I've got a compressor there, which is a sort of fast attack, fast release, which is mostly managing the kicks. And then I've got a slower complete compressor there as well, followed by a limiter and Ozone 9, which is what sort of brings it in line with the -14 LUFS for Spotify. And that is the track. So yeah, I think I've covered everything there. Let me know if there's anything you want me to explain in more detail. I can do individual videos on any of these elements. But yeah, it was a track that I really liked. It was quite a simple idea, but I think those are often the best ones. So yeah, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and comment to enter the competition, and be sure to check out the compilation, as it's a great selection of tracks from some really fantastic producers. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.